happening, everybody? Welcome back to Anthony's Takes. Right now we're going to do my Spider-Man Homecoming movie review / spoiler talk. So I'll do my movie review first, and then I'll let you guys know when I'm going to talk spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, go and check it out as soon as you can. It's a must-see. It's definitely, I know it's cliche for everyone to say, but it's the best portrayal of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. You know, for Tobey Maguire, you know, it is what it is, like, but he wasn't fooling anybody with his old ass as a high school senior. He was just way too old. But yeah, he did have the nerdy look, but he just, you know, wasn't young enough. So Tom Holland, they definitely went younger. He definitely, even though he is, I don't know his real age right now, but he definitely looks closer to a high schooler than Tobey Maguire ever did. And I'm not even gonna mention Andrew Garfield. He was just he just didn't look like a Peter Parker to me. So but just getting into it, man, I really love the way it started and just jumped straight into you know, all the action. It didn't really have to reboot and explain Uncle Ben's death again. It didn't have to explain, you know, how he became Spider-Man, how he got bit. You know, they mention it with his friend once he finds, no, you just kind of see the trailer, where his friend finds out that he is Spider-Man. You know, he starts asking all these questions, and that's the most you get into how he became Spider-Man. And that's all it really needed. It didn't, you know, need to go through any origin story, because we've seen it done twice already, differently. Each one of those origin stories had, you know, close to the comics, and then they muddy something up and change it. You know, it is what it is. I love the casting of Tom Holland, Michael Keaton as Vulture. I wasn't sure how that was gonna play out, because, you know, all Marvel movies have this, you know, this stigma of just having a villain that really, you know, just grabs you the whole movie. And it just starts out introducing Adrian Toomes and what his goals and what his plots are for the rest of the movie. It definitely gave him enough screen time to actually, you know, get you to invest into the Vulture and Adrian Toomes. He wasn't just a side note. He wasn't crammed into there. He, you know, like how Marvel movies have this bad thing with certain villains where they get too stuck into the origin of the superhero, where the, you know, the villain is just an afterthought. But no, this one, Michael Keaton, man, great job, you know, playing the Vulture. And the story, there wasn't a dull moment in this movie. I loved it a lot. So I definitely see a lot of bright things coming in the future when it comes to the Avenger movies. Another, you know, Spider-Man standalone movie, and then the announcement of the Venom movie that's coming out that will take place in the MCU, even though Sony has their fingerprints all over it, you know. I was gonna give this a perfect 5 out of 5, but I honestly can't, like, think of something that would knock it down from that. I was thinking to myself 4.5 out of 5, but then when I started to think about, okay, what is the reason I'm giving it a 4.5 and not a 5? And the only answer I could think of is the way, I guess, it's just the internet age that we live in, where, you know, a script or someone needs to be casted as a different character under a certain name just to keep it a secret. You know, nothing can be a secret ever anymore when you go to the movies. Like, you're always gonna have something spoiled for you, whether it's by the trailer or internet rumors, internet vlogging, and all this. You know, you can't really be, like, get shocked unless you just stay away from all that. Like myself, I try to stay away from all these articles and fan theories and, you know, leaked information. I stay away from all that. I just stick to watching the trailers. Whatever the trailer gives away, then yeah, you know, or things that you can just figure out on your own. But what I'm trying to get at is how they casted Zendaya to play a character named Michelle. You know, so if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it yet for anybody, but it ends up being someone else, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, whatever. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna have to give this movie 4.5. Oh hell yes! Yeah, I just can't get over the fact how young Aunt May is. When I see Marissa Tomei, I just don't see Aunt May. If they would have put a couple of streaks of gray hair in there, why not? Yeah, that's fine, but she's just too hot to be an Aunt May. I need Aunt May to look old and, you know, just have that look of actually, you know, being through some shit, you know, the way Aunt May has. But Marissa too, yeah, like, I love how Tony Stark even mentions it right in the first 5 minutes of the movie, like, oh, hopefully she's wearing something skimpy right now, though, you know, something like that. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, so spoiler talk. Let's get into this shit because there is a lot to talk about with spoilers, man. So when you first introduction, the first scene, it takes you back to, what was it, 2008? 2008, whenever the first Avengers, the aftermath in New York City, you know, all that destruction led to, you know, cleaning crews and everything, and Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes, he's the head of one of these cleaning crews, and they're starting to clean shit up and everything, and then they get kicked out by a government agency. Damage control crew hired by Tony Stark to clean up everything, get all of the alien technology, all of the ships, all of the, you know, scraps of metal and weapons from the Chitauri, and basically kick them out of the site. And, you know, that puts Adrian Toomes out of work. He's struggling as it is, so he begins selling what he has on the black market. What he has at his disposal, at his fingertips of alien technology, he sells on a black market, makes weapons out of them, and he sells to the highest bidder. So 8 years later, he's still doing that. He's grown. You know, with each battle, you know, that the Avengers go through, he's there to pick up the scraps, and he's making a profit off of it, you know, supporting his family. And yeah, you really start to, like, just feel for him about how he's just trying to provide for his family. Spider-Man, he's well into his powers. He's got his suit. I love how, you know, the first couple of minutes he's, you know, to Peter Parker, he's vlogging everything, and he's got everything on his phone. So the first couple of minutes you see him, you know, he's hiding, like, he sees the, you know, the scene at the airport with in Civil War where he's about to jump in and steal Cap's shield, and all that leading up to that point, and even afterwards, of how he was freaking out about how, you know, he got to participate in such a fight, you know, with the Avengers. There was quite a few mentions to a couple of people. There was quite a few rumors that Donald Glover was casted to play Miles Morales, and that wasn't true. In the 5 minutes that he was in the movie, he says his name was Aaron Davis. And everybody in the theater like, oh shit, like, if you don't know who Aaron Davis is, he is the Prowler. And one character that was always, I remember in the Spider-Man comics, he was a thief. And all I can remember, yeah, he was a thief. And yeah, somehow became like a hero, but like an anti-hero, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, he mentions that he has a little cousin that lives in a neighborhood where the weapons are being sold, and he doesn't like it at all because of his little cousin. In the comics, the Prowler's was it cousin or nephew? I can't remember. Cousin or nephew, but is Miles Morales. He didn't say his name, but oh, I don't want these weapons on the street because I have a little cousin that lives in the neighborhood. So, and that's just mentioning Miles Morales. So some, they're just planting little Easter eggs here and there for possible future endeavors, which is far a long way from here. Yeah, and now that we're talking spoilers, just going back to what I was saying about. I would have given it a 5, but I don't like how all the secrecy. Like, Zendaya was, most likely playing Mary Jane, but, the girl that actually ended up being the daughter of Adrian Toomes, Liz, that when you seen that happen, where like, oh, I'm moving away, I was like, oh, okay, open up the door for Mary Jane to come, but then, that's when, they're electing the captain of the decathlon team, and I'm appointing Michelle, and there's you guys can call me MJ, so yeah, I kind of like how they're not really sticking to what you see in the comics when it comes to the race of the characters. Mary Jane is no longer a white girl, what you saw in the comics. Flash Thompson, he's this kid from Guatemala. Well, his parents are from Guatemala, I think. Tony Revolori, I believe that's his name. But yeah, when I first saw him, oh shit, a Middle Eastern kid is playing Flash Thompson. But no, he's actually from Guatemala, I guess. So yeah, it's very true to what you see in your typical high school. Two of the girls that Peter Parker's interested are not white. He got the jungle fever going on. I see you, Peter. There was a lot of talk about people being worried that Tony Stark was gonna be in the movie way too much. He was gonna be start getting annoying with his all of a sudden father figure type of role that he's gonna have. You've seen in the trailer how he's scolding Peter about if you're nothing without this suit, you shouldn't have it. And the irony of that is just, amazing that like someone like Tony Stark, can try to give that type of speech, But he has been a changed man. You've seen his character grow and change a lot since Iron Man 1 and how he was, and now he's that father figure to Peter Parker. And yeah, you can't knock him for trying shit. Definitely had the right amount of screen time. He didn't, he wasn't overly welcomed, or, he was in the movie enough just to make sure Peter was on the straight and narrow, and they're basically just trying to hold him back from, trying to outdo himself after the battle in Civil War. He just wants to make sure he's ready before he starts, really risking his life for the Avengers and things of that nature. So yeah, I like his friend is basically the guy in the chair for him. His hacker. He hacked into the suit. They had this training wheels protocol into the suit to where he wasn't fully capable to use all of the abilities that the suit can do. Until Tony Stark thought he was ready, but he ended up, hacking into it and taking out the tracking device also. And it was really good to see him, he's learning as he goes, like all of his web shooting combinations and, different ways he can use his webbing and fighting, combat. Like his suit has a combat mode. So, that's something new and different. And it'll probably get even better in the future. It was very reminiscent when the scene happens where he's taking the girl to the prom and Michael Keaton opens up the door. Adrian Toomes opened up the door, and it reminded me a lot of how Norman Osborn found out Peter Parker was Spider-Man at the Thanksgiving dinner in the first movie. But this one was like, it just surpassed it, because like they were driving in the car, and his date is just mentioning to Peter how, oh, whenever Spider-Man's around, you always disappear, like you keep missing out on him, and it just clicked in Adrian Toomes' head that oh, he's fucking Spider-Man, like, and he's fucking taking my daughter to the prom. What the hell? So yeah, that was pretty. That was when Michael Keaton shined. I think that was the scene where he just gave him the talk. He made a sing. He made the girl get out the car like, oh, I'm gonna give him the dad talk. But it was basically like, hey, stay the hell away from my business and what I'm doing, and I won't kill you. I won't kill you and everyone you love. Man, that shit had Peter shook right there. He was shook the whole night. Didn't even go to his prom. Ended up following Adrian. And I really like how it was set up in a way to, when he had that final battle against Vulture, he didn't have his suit that Tony Stark gave him. He had his regular sweatsuit and his hoodie that he had before he even met Tony Stark. So and pretty much proved to Tony Stark like, hey, here I am. I am what I am without your suit. Gave it right back to him at the end of the movie. After Peter denied the, it looked like a space-looking suit of Spider-Man. You know what I'm talking about. If you saw it, man, that suit was looking real nice with the black spider all across it. But yeah, Peter turned it down. He thought it was just a test, So hopefully we do see that suit in Infinity War. Hopefully, that would be nice. Or maybe even this is just like a mock-up of what it may be in the future. So, but that suit was looking crazy, and I was like, oh shit, he's already getting another upgrade. But now he turned it down. And then he gets home, and then his first suit that he initially got from Tony Stark goes on his bed in a brown paper bag. And man, I don't know what to think about this, but what do you guys think about how Aunt May knows Peter is Spider-Man now? Or, I don't know. It just ended in the way it reminded me of the first Iron Man, where he's at a press conference and he's like, I am Iron Man, and then it ends right there. So he's putting on his suit, and then Aunt May, you can see over his shoulder like, what the fuck? And then it cuts off. Man, I don't know. Is he gonna come up with some excuse, just saying it's a Halloween costume or something like that? Or, damn, what is that gonna be like for the future of, Aunt May knowing he is, like, I don't think in the comics Aunt May ever knew. I think in the newer reincarnations of the comic, Aunt May finds out, and then I've heard like all the way from the beginning, Aunt May has always known. However, she just keeps her mouth shut and just lets him, do what he does, and still loves him no matter what. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, it's just that Aunt May, to me, was always that one person that never knew he was Spider-Man. And the end credit scenes, there was two of them. The first one, was basically just Adrian Toomes, keeping his mouth shut, that he knew who Spider-Man really was. And he was just keeping his mouth shut because he was in prison. Someone else in the prison was trying to get it out of him about who he knows is Spider-Man. So, and then he just tells him, oh, if I knew who Spider-Man really was, trust me, he would be dead by now. So, but I think he's keeping away from doing that because, just doing it for his daughter, because I was a friend of his daughter's. So, and then that second one with Captain America. Throughout the movie, you also seen it in the trailer where Captain America's on the TV. He's doing like a little cheap PSA for schools. So you see the first one where in the movie it's in gym class, and then there's another one that is directed to people, who are in detention, and giving like a little pep talk through the TV screen. But then that third one at the end credit scene was pretty funny, how he started to talk about patience, and was like, oh, how all of you are sitting here waiting for this, even though it's a complete letdown. And, you know, just poking fun at people that wait after the end credits to see what the end credit scenes were. That was pretty fucking good. That was funny. It made me laugh. So, what did you guys think of Spider-Man Homecoming? Did you like it? I know I loved it. Excited to see what Tom Holland continues to bring for Infinity War. You know there's going to be another sequel, definitely. And then on top of that, the Venom spin-off movie that will possibly have Tom Holland play a part in. So, because how can you do a Venom movie without him getting the black symbiote suit anyway, you know? So if you enjoyed my movie review, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. If you did not, eat a dick.